Our coverage of Computex 2025 from Taipei, Taiwan is brought to you by Thermaltake, Cooler Master, Gigabyte, Trix, and G-Skill. Hey guys, I'm over at Powercolor. I missed the AMD announcements that they did earlier today, but in case you guys didn't hear, their new graphics cards announced the RX 9060 XT. There's going to be an 8GB version. There's going to be a 16GB version. Powercolor has theirs right here. It's supposed to be $350 for the 16 gig and $300 for the 8 gig. We're highly skeptical because we saw the 9070 XT come out and we saw the prices $200, $300 more than what we thought they were going to be. So I'm on the fence here. On the one hand, I'm going to show you guys these cards, show them off a little bit. I'm also heavily skeptical about how pricing is going to go in the next few weeks as these launch. We're expecting launch date, by the way, is June 5th, so they will be coming out pretty soon. And in an unprecedented move by AMD, they're actually going to be sending samples to reviewers and providing us with drivers so we can test the cards and give you guys some feedback on their performance prior to launch. Wow, what a weird, crazy way to do things. Imagine if that had been like the historical way that it had always been done in this industry that hadn't just been stamped on over by Nvidia. Anyway, there's lots of bitterness going on with graphics cards, but let's just take a look at the hardware. In terms of specs, we have 32 AMD Radeon A4 compute units, 32 hardware ray tracing accelerators, and AMD is telling us that these are going to be better at ray tracing. The 9070 and 9070 XT were also better at ray tracing, so we're going to take their word for it on that. Boost clock for the 9060 XT goes all the way up to 3.13 gigahertz, but of course we're going to see overclocked models such as the ones on the left here, which are Hellhound models, and then this is the Reaper model, which is Powercolor's kind of base, entry level, gets the job done, keeps the size down a little bit with a 2-fan configuration. So this will be the same design for both the 8 gig and the 16 gig model. Interestingly, the 8 gig model has memory chips on this side of the PCB, the same side as the GPU. And for the 16 gig model, they just add more memory chips to the back side here. So those are going to get a little bit of cooling from this back plate. And I'm told with some testing, although it's a little bit early to say, you shouldn't be expecting temperatures higher than the 80 to 90 degree range. So if this card is actually available for $300 or $350, if the performance aligns with some of the promises made by AMD in their announcements, then I feel like this will be perhaps a reasonable card for entry-level gaming, which is something that we haven't had in quite some time. Of course, I also have to mention, $300 to $350 is not as entry-level as I would like. I still wish there was a better solution for people down in the $200 to $250 range. And of course, we must maintain our skepticism as to real-world pricing once these launch, especially if you're talking about in the US, as well as globally, of course. Here's the Hellhound version, which actually it looks a lot similar to the Reaper. It's just a little bit longer with an extra fan. The Reaper here is 200 millimeters in length, and the Hellhound is 330 millimeters in length, so that gives you a lot more space for stacks of fins and heat dissipation, and of course that's going to help out with overclocking in the long term. I again am appreciating that these are simple 2-slot cards. They're not even protruding higher above the PCIe bracket as some cards do. So that's going to help with compatibility across a wide range of cases. Some upgrades you get with the Hellhound Edition are going to be these 2 little switches right here. We'll lay them down that way so we can see, and we'll take a look at this is the Spectral White version as well, by the way, if you guys couldn't tell. Black version over here, Spectral White there. And with the Spectral White version as well, just in terms of attention to detail, note that all of the components in here are white. Even the PCB itself, even the power connector, which is quite visible there at the edge of the card. So that helps keep a nice clean look for anyone who's going for that pristine all-white build. Back to the functional pieces though, we have a BIOS switch right here, which has OC and silent mode, or of course you could manually modify those if you wanted to. And then we have an LED switch here, which is basically on and off. These have single color LEDs. The white version has white LEDs, which is quite appropriate. And the black version here is going to have blue LEDs. It's not running right now, but the LED is sort of tucked in and will glow underneath on the end. And then you'll also have the little eye and the Hellhound logo that will light up as well. If you guys saw me look at the 9070 XT, it's pretty much the same kind of vibe. One other thing to note about the 9060 XT, for anyone who's really interested in potentially buying one, do note that the video outs are a little bit cut down. You get 3, that's 2 DisplayPort and an HDMI versus 4 that you would get on the 9070 XT. Again, just a small change, but those are things that you might not immediately be aware of if you're just looking at the specs. Beyond that, these cards have between a 150 watt and 182 watt total board power, and that's going to vary depending on whether you're looking at an overclocked model or not. We also have a PCIe 5.0 by 16 connection. That's appreciated. They didn't cut it down to by 8. And then back to those video outs. Those are DisplayPort 2.1a connections and an HDMI 2.1b. So there you go, guys. A quick rundown of the 9060 XT 8 and 16 gig specs, as well as a first look at some of the models that Powercolor is going to be coming out with. Again, I'm excited about these cards, but I'm also very hesitant because I'm not very optimistic about the long-term pricing. But I guess hope. That's all we have. We can hope and pray, and maybe if we all have positive thoughts, then in the future things will get better for PC gaming. I do like these cards. I guess that's all I got to say. Anyway, thanks to Powercolor for inviting me over, and a big thank you to my sponsors for Computex 2025, G-Skill, Gigabyte, Thermaltake, Trikes, and Cooler Master. We'll see you guys in the next video.